Hey, so you're thinking about taking a trip down to Roatan. Well, we just got back from there and we learned a few things while we were down there, and we might do a few things differently. First of all, there's two areas down there. There's West Bay and West End. And if you've been on a cruise, you probably are familiar with West Bay. That's where most of the cruise ships take their guests. And it's a beautiful beach. It's got a lot going for it. It's got beautiful white sand. It's got turquoise water. It's got world class snorkeling. It's a great place to spend the day, but it has a few downfalls too. We were a little bit surprised when we got down there. We stayed about 10 days down at West Bay, and um, we stayed one night down at a VRBO and next to Infinity Bay, and the other night down at the Grand Roatan, the Kipton, the newly remodeled place down there. That's a beautiful place to stay. But we were there for a week and also a couple Saturdays on either ends. And what we found out was down there in the high season, which is pretty much December down to April, um, they have a lot of wedding parties. Now, some of these wedding parties may be 1 to 2 to 300 people, and they literally start preparing for them around lunchtime, and they crank up about 6 at night, and they go to about 2. And what's involved along with these is a lot of loud music, a lot of partying going on, fireworks. And if you're staying at one of these resorts, you're pretty much part of that party. Even if you're staying next door, you're not really going to get away with it or get away from it. I'm sorry. But that was one of the things that surprised us a little bit. And we were prepared for the beach vendors when we got down there. And I get it, they've got to make a living, and tourism's the main industry down there. So I understand those folks down there are trying to make a living, and they actually sell some of the stuff that down there that's kind of nice. I got a nice wood carving while I was down there, but it's a lot of cotton candy and T-shirts and that kind of stuff, and it's just a steady stream of the vendors coming up and down the beach. And if you add that into a cruise ship day when it's a little bit crowded, it can get kind of old if you're there for a full week. So we also stayed down at West End, and I'd have to say, out of the two, I like that a little bit better. It's a little quieter down there. It's a little bit more like backpackers and locals that hang out down there on the weekends on the beach. And speaking of that, if you're going to go down to the beach on the weekends, you want to get there early if you're going to find a spot there on that beach. But a little bit quieter down there, but they still have restaurants and bars down there, and it can get loud on the weekends too. We stayed at a place called Coral Vistas, and a beautiful place out on the point, and nice and quiet and peaceful the whole week. But on Saturday night, around 9 at night until about 1 in the morning, one of the bars behind us cranked up some music, and uh, there's no getting away with it or away from it. It's loud, and you're part of that party down there too, if that's going on. So there's a few things that we learned that we do a little bit different. Um, After this video, I'll give you a couple pointers. We did some excursions down there. That was a blast. I definitely would go back down again, but we just might do things a little bit different. hopefully that gave you a little idea of what is going on down there in Roatan and West Bay and the West End, and some of the activities and stuff that there is to do. There's a bunch of stuff to do down there. It's a great time. In fact, it's kind of hard sifting through. There's so many different activities and so many different excursions and so many different companies. I think probably one thing that I would say, recommend about the excursions is when you go down there, try and plan them ahead if you can. If you're going to be there for a week, we went with Detour Roatan. Jason was fantastic. Any kind of hiccups that we had, he was more than happy to accommodate with us to get them fixed, and just really wanted to make sure that we had the best time that we could when we were down there. So you can reach out to him. There's other good tour companies down there, but they can give you an idea of what's available down there as far as the excursion. So if you can plan some of that stuff ahead of time, that takes a little bit of the stress and it gives you a little bit more time to relax while you're down there. And I don't want to come off like an old curmudgeon, an old grumpy old man that doesn't like to have fun. But I've gotten to this point in life where I kind of would rather the quiet side of the island. And the east side's a completely different story. I really didn't get a whole lot of time to explore the east side, but what we found out on the west side was we might like to stay further down the island. As you go down past West End, you get into Sandy Bay and Lawson Rock, Pristine Bay, and there's resorts down there, and there's also some great VRBOs that are down there too. But even though you got great snorkeling and stuff, and it may be a little bit more work to get a taxi to go down and get the places to eat that the West Bay and West End has available, you're always able to go over there and then come back to where you're staying. So I think that's the two main things I would recommend for anybody that was headed down there. I think we'll stay down a little bit further down the island next time, but it was a great time. You'll have a super time down there in Roatan. People are friendly, great people down there. So enjoy your trip down there. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment. Subscribe if you'd like. I've got another great video on Anthony's Key. We did a dolphin excursion down there that was like nothing else I've ever done. I've done a couple dolphin excursions, but this one actually lets you swim, snorkel with the dolphins, and it was a really cool deal. So I'll try to link that up here in the video. And then, like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to comment.